Hi everyone, welcome to the next video in our Halloween Tinies series from the Colouring Heaven magazine. These are all pictures by Agotapop, and we have this cauldron picture to do today, which looks like a lot of fun. So let's come in a bit closer and smooth the book underneath my pencil so I can get you in the centre of the frame. There, I think that'll do nicely. Now we've got some fire going on down here. These here look like bones, but I'm like the bones that we coloured in the last page, but I think I'm going to colour them as sticks because it's part of the fire. And we've got some little circles which I'm thinking probably coal, our cauldron obviously, and then some sort of bubbly potion steaming up, which is rather exciting. Some mushrooms and things. Let's start with our fire. I think that's the easiest place to start for me because I know what colour to do it. So we're going to start with the red. I've just grabbed my pale geranium lake, and we're going to do the tips of, our flames like this. I want it quite intense at the top, then just fade it down, and we'll do the same with each flame. Oh, it's a very loud train horn. And move through. I hope everyone's doing well today. I am. And it's afternoon now. I actually recorded this picture this morning, and went out. It was quite funny. Opened the front door to leave the house with my husband. We were going for a walk together, it's nice. And our plumber was on the door, so I said, hello. He said, oh, sorry, you're going out. I'll come back later. And no, he said, what time were you expect? I said, well, I was told you'd be coming this afternoon, which is why we're going out this morning. He said, I can come back later. I said, no, you're here, just come in and do it. So he did a few jobs for us, which was fabulous. Where the door frame of the shower door doesn't come up flush to the upstand on the front of the shower tray, there was a gap, and the water was getting underneath the frame and filling up this gap. So it probably wouldn't ever fill up enough to spill over. There's always a chance, because it could obviously flow back out again, but not completely dry out. But here's a cadmium orange. Did I tell you what the last colour was? Dark cadmium orange. Now I want to get a yellow in here, so I'm not going to use too much of this. So he filled up the gap there, and I asked him while he had his sealant there, could he seal between there's another bit which the guy who did our floor was supposed to do, and he forgot. And he had, he's got the sealer open. He said, well, this is a clear one. Do you want that or do you want white? And I said, clear. I'd rather have clear. So he put the clear one down there as well. And I also asked him how to get sealant off the shower door because it had got on there. And he removed it for me. Dark cadmium yellow. He rubbed it quite hard. I tried to rub it, but it didn't come off very well. And then he used a blade to get it off the glass, which I can't be trusted with. He did say, I'll leave you the blade, you can, if you spot any more bits, but we both decided that wasn't a very good idea because we can't be trusted. My husband has managed to cut through his hand before with one of those knives, retractable craft knives, And I've nearly sawn my thumb off. No, I'm exaggerating. I have got a scar on one of my thumbs here. That's a bread knife. Now, my question is, I'm right-handed. This is my right hand. How did I cut my thumb with the bread knife? I do not know the answer to my own question. Stupidity. Carelessness. Idiocy. Who knows the answer, but I'm more careful. This was warm grey 5. I'm going to be doing these little stones under here, but we do need to be careful because this is a leg of our cauldron, as is this, as is this. So I need to try to remember not to colour those in. Now with these stones or bits of coal, I'm going to try to make them a little lighter at the top, just because that's how I colour stone, like that. Just work through them all. Yeah, we had a nice walk. It's really sunny today. It's quite cold, but that's fine. Had a jacket on and a scarf and sunshine. And we just popped to our local supermarket. We went along the canal path. It's quite nice in the sunshine, although there's not much in the way of flowers, trees, leaves, animals, nothing like that exciting going on, because I'm going to do these sticks. I think I'm going to go for quite a dark colour. I think the walnut brown, because then the flames will stand out. I mean, they stand out quite well, to be honest, anyway. But again, I might try and do them a little bit darker near the bottom and there. A little bit lighter as we go up to the top. But yes, so because of the time of year, not many leaves are changing colour. There are a few berries, there were some rose hips and a few things like that, which was really pretty. But because things aren't quite all changing yet, and it was quite wet, which sort of makes everything look a bit dirty and boring. So it wasn't quite looking that good. But there were no birds on the water. I didn't notice any birds, but me and husband were having a natter. I was talking to him about how, I need a bit more help. I've talked to him about it before. This is probably the third or fourth time I've talked to him about it lately. But, maybe slowly we'll get right through. Now, I'm thinking Cauldron, liquid in Cauldron. I always like the idea of doing a green sliminess. Now, interestingly, Helen Elliston has got a new book out. Now, I haven't got it yet on recording this video. I'm going to use a light green layer on the bottom of my slime. But I might have it by the time this video does go out, because obviously I'll be getting it, because, Helen Elliston is very, very good. This is a light layer, by the way. It's a sort of initial layer. I'm going to add some other colours on it. I got some there. Wasn't my intention. I'm trying not to do the smoke or whatever yet. And on the front cover, it shows some of the items from the book, and one of them is slime. So it'd be quite useful to know how to colour it. But as I don't have the book, I'm going to have to make it up. But that's fine. So this next colour is leaf green, and I'm going to put in some darker areas. So I'm thinking, see where we've got this sort of drip here? Under here, there'd probably be some sort of shadow, like that. Maybe just put a few darker patches here and there under this bit as well, and under here. Sort of maybe where it sort of would shadow, like that. And then I'm going to go back over with my light green in quite a hard layer, or lots of layers, actually the drip, I'm going to put a bit at the bottom, fade it up like that. So back to the light green, sorry to confuse, and then layer it up. So I'm going to layer, so we've got a nice dark colour. Well, it's not dark because it's light. I am making so much sense. Shush, don't question it. Intense, an intense layer of light green. Let's get the terminology right. So she's got this book and it looks great, and I will do a flip through for you as soon as I get it, and we'll have a go at colouring something using one of the tutorials. So you can have a look. But her, I find her tutorials really good to follow. She usually uses Prismacolor, but I had her books way before I had Prismacolor, and I could follow along just using my own Polychromos actually, is what I used to have. Now I'm going to get another darker colour. I think I'm going to go for the Juniper Green. I'm going to sharpen it, and I'm going to do a few little bits to try and make it look a little bit more rounded. So here's a Juniper Green. We're going to put some shadow in. My thought is if I put a bit of shadow along the edge here, like that, and along here, there and there, it might look, I'm just going to scumble that in a bit, it might look a bit more like it isn't flat. I don't know if that's really working, but I'm going to keep persevering and see what happens. I want some shadow in there just because that's behind, like that, and then here, a little bit down here on the edge, sort of scumble it in. And I'm trying to work out what's going on with that drip, maybe underneath. Let's scumble along there a little bit. Taking a bit of thought, I can do a bit on that side too, a bit on this side. So I'm thinking the shadow might sort of give it a bit of depth somehow. Right, and now I am going to put another layer of light green on because I think it can take another layer. Oh, sorry for the blur. Like that, but more around the bits where I did the dark areas rather than across the whole thing, because I want it to look like there's not just the same colour of green through the whole thing. There we go. I like green slime. I think it has to be green. Now our smoke, now we could go with green, but we could go with a different colour to make it look a bit more magical. It might just look like I had a bit of a weird moment. There's lots of those, that's for sure. Smoky green. I think I will try. Yeah, I'm gonna do a light, go back to my light green, put a light layer on. These dots I will do in pen after, so I'm going to just forget about those. I'm going to keep this quite light. I think I might do a sort of grey green to make it look sort of smoky, but with a hint of the green slime in it. That's my thought. And while I'm doing this, I'm trying to think of what colour to colour that cauldron. Now, traditionally black, pewter, something like that, you know. But we don't have to go with tradition. This is the warm grey 2. I'm going to put some over the top. It's quite faint still at the minute, but smoke isn't usually dark, so I'm just yeah, so cauldron. So I'm wondering whether to go with a blue or a purple rather than a black or a grey. I quite liked actually the fact that when I did my hat I moved away from black and did something a bit different, so I think that's what I'm going to do with this. So there's a bit of grey, and I'm going to go back and do another layer of the green, light green. Again, I'm still not pressing really hard. I don't want like really intense, it's smoke, it should be quite subtle. I didn't bring my cardigan in. My cardigan's been on and off today. I was like, oh, it's hot, I could take my cardigan off. And my husband was like, it's just hot in here. And I'm like, no, I know the difference between it being hot and having a hot flash. But anyway, there's the smoke. So I think I was going to do blue, but I think purple goes better with slime. Have you? Oh, you must have given it some thought. What colour goes better with slime? Right, so I'm going to start with the violet and do a sort of base of violet on the whole thing, and then we'll think about shadows and things where it might be darker and lighter. But I just want to get a layer of this over the whole thing. I always think purple and green go quite well, but I think the green will stand out quite nicely. That moon, I'm thinking about, I think in fact I'm going to use a silver sparkly gel pen to do that. I think it'd be nice. Now we need to remember to do the feet. There we go. That's the sort of point of doing this initial layer. Helps me make sure I remember all the little bits without getting too carried away with thinking about light and shade and things like that. Okay, that's us done with this layer. Now I'm going to sharpen this a little bit so that I can get into some details. There we go. Now inside, we've got this inside part here and here and here. This would be dark. It has got a bit of green on. I'm going to try to colour over the green and just scumble it up towards the edge, thinking, you know, it would be darker near the items in the pot, basically. I'm trying to cover over the green because that wasn't intentional. Now our brim, I'm thinking it will be lighter on the top than the bottom, just because the top, although the bottom might be reflecting the fire, that's a bit too complicated for my little brain, so I'm going to make it lighter on the top as if it's being lit from above, like that. And the same on this bit. Now I'm not going really hard here, it's just a little bit darker, it's just an extra layer. And the same here. As we go around the corner, I'm just leaving it really light, because under here I feel there'd be a shadow, which I'm going to just draw in like that, because I feel the rim is sort of sticking out. You can see how it's drawn there. Now the main part, actually I'm going to do the legs next because I'm in risk of forgetting them otherwise. We would have quite a hard shadow there on each of them, like that. But how I'm going to do these is just go around the edge and try and just make the centre a little bit lighter so that they look a little bit less flat. There's the sun going in. The handles I'm going to do similar to the rim with a sort of darker bit along the bottom, but remember as we go to the back it swaps, so like that. Now the main pot, we're going to have it darker here and then fade it towards the middle so that it looks like there's some shadow on the sides and makes it look a little bit more rounded, so like that. And then again on this side the same way. I'm sort of assuming that moon is in the middle. I might be wrong, but I think it probably is. So we've got an extra layer in places now, and we're going to go again. So building up that colour on the edge. To create that sort of idea that the pot is more rounded. Sorry, I just stopped to observe and think as to whether it's working. I think it is. And also whether I need another colour. But I'm actually quite happy with how this one is going down on its own, to be honest. Because it's not too dark, the green is still really standing out, which I like. I do think we need it to be a little bit darker coming up from the bottom though, here. So just sort of trying to scumble it up so that we can fade it into the blend that's there already. Well, now there's going to be some shadow under here and under the pot, and I'm going to just draw that in with a slightly darker colour, I think. I'm going to use the mauve, and I know this has been marked in a bit already, but on the very edge it doesn't really show. So we're going to put it in a bit darker, like that, and then around the edge of here, so that we can see that it's not part of the pot, which I think is obvious, but there's that bit, and then around here, like that. And I think there might be a bit of shadow underneath the handle there. We can't, it's not on that side, so that's okay. Yeah, I'm happy with that. I could put a little bit here, actually, just in there, and the lower parts there. There we go. Now, our spoon, ladle, whatever it is, I feel that would be silver. It would be very hot if it was made of metal though, but that's what I feel it is. Excuse me, I don't think it's wood. I don't know why. I just think it needs to be metal. So hence I'm going to get my cold grey 4 and put some grey around the edge, like that, and then put a little bit less on the next layer, and keep moving in with just a tad until we get to the last bit where we just leave a little bit of paper so that it looks like it's a shiny silver ladle. I mean, it could be a spoon, but I'm calling it a ladle. Now we've got our leaves. Next, this is what I'm going to do next. I'm thinking about the green because I don't want the green of the leaves to take away from our slime. I'm really enjoying that. So I think if I do a bluey green and quite a dark one, then it will just frame it because it's dark, and it will look very different. So I'm going to start with the cobalt, the deep cobalt green, which as you know, is really, really dark. And I'm going to use that for the base of each leaf here. Look, so layer it on down here so it's quite intense, and then fade it off as you go towards the tip, like that, and then do the same for all of them. Yeah, so by the time we got back from our walk, having had to wait for the plum off to finish, which was fine, we were happy with that. It was sort of half an hour before lunch, so I didn't really have time. And I had to make a phone call to sort out an appointment. My son had a phone call while I was out. We've got an appointment that he wants me to go to, and he didn't know when I was available, so he couldn't organise the appointment, and so I had to phone back and organise that. By the time I'd done that, it was lunchtime, but I had to sit on hold for a minute and speak to the right person, you know how it is, and by the time I'd done that, it was lunch. But that was all good. I mean, he could have done it really, but I guess he probably isn't aware. He's often very in his own thoughts, you know, and doesn't pay attention to things he finds dull. So he probably has no idea that I have a calendar in this room which has all my appointments on it, so he would be able to use that and then use his own timetable to work out when we were both free, you know. But anyway, at least he answered the phone, so that was good. And I now got it sorted out. Actually, we only had to wait for the day after their proposed appointment, so not too bad. Now I'm going to try quite an interesting combination I've never tried before, which might seem very odd because I've been using Polychromos probably since 2013-14. I don't think I've tried this combination before. So this is the deep cobalt green, and I'm going to try the Cobalt Green. Now it's really quite blue, so I think this might end up very blue, and I don't mind because I can go over it with a green after, but I'm just going to try it. Oh, that is blue, isn't it? It's very weird that this is called green. Maybe it's just my interpretation of turquoise, because you know, we all see it in different ways. But I'd love to know in the comments, do the leaves look blue or green to you? To me, they look very, very blue. So, I mean, you could say bluey green, but really more to the blue side. But there was this online test which you could do, which told you whether you were normal in the way you perceive turquoise, but it's all a bit silly really, because we all have our brightness of our screen and our saturation and things like that all set to different levels, so you can't do a on-screen test like that unless there's some sort of collaboration isn't the right word, to make sure that your screen is showing the right colour before you start. Now, what is that word? It doesn't matter. Calibration, that's the word. No, so we didn't, so I didn't think that was particularly useful, but it was based around some research that men and women tend to see colours differently. And what was fascinating was my dad said, one day we went round to their house, and he said, right, I need you all to answer a question for me. We were like, oh, okay. And he said, this is the May green. I'm going to put it on top. He didn't say that. He said, what colour is this tablecloth? I want you all to tell me. We went round the table. See, look how that instantly is green in my eye. You can also use yellow on top, which would send it very green too. So I went round asking people what colour they thought the tablecloth was. Now I knew that he thought it was green, because green is his favourite colour and he tries to pick everything green. So I knew he thought it was green, but I actually thought it was blue. And there was quite a mix. It was 50-50. But him and my mum didn't agree, so she must have thought it was blue like me. But there wasn't a boys think this and girls think this thing going on. But it was just quite interesting. My husband said he thought it was red, because I said, oh, don't ask him, he's colourblind. So he said, oh, it's red, because he thought he was being hilariously funny. But obviously he was. But yeah, he's blue-green. He's blue... No, green-red colourblind. That's right. But not really severely, just a little bit. Right, we have a selection of mushrooms / toadstools here. Now, they've got little dots on. I'm going to draw the dots on after in pen, like I did on the one we did yesterday, because they're really small and I can't colour neatly around circles. If you can, by all means leave those white if that's what you want to do. Excuse me yawning. If that's what you want to do, by all means just do that your way. But as I say, I'm just incapable, so I am going to colour over it probably. Now I'm just going to use the salmon. That obviously says salmon. I've got using my old pencils, and I'm going to make this one pink. I'm probably going to try and colour around them, but it might end up being a mess. My eyes are feeling a bit weird because the light in here is so odd. I put the main light on. I had to shut the blind because the sun was on the desk. Put the main light on and the lamp, and it's a bit odd. So I rather like that colour, but we're just going to darken it up with a little bit of this, a little bit of pompeian red. Okay, I'm going to sharpen it because I need to get into the edges a little bit. So I think down in this corner, I'm just thinking about where it might be darker. I think it's going to be darker from this corner upwards. This will be the lightest bit, just because of its angle. So I'm just going to carry my darker colour just up this side a little bit and just up towards the top, like that. There we go, not too much. I think it's visible. Now the berries. Oh, we need to see the stem of the mushroom. I'm going to go for the cold grey 3. Now I think this side might be a tad darker. I'll just fade it a bit up to there. Just because of the angle. There we go. Berries, still thinking. Yeah, I'll do them this colour. This is the red violet. It's quite a dark colour and they're quite small. And the leaves are really dark, so I think they need to stand out. And we can put some white on them to help them stand out even more in a minute. But I think there's only those. I'm not trying to do anything fancy. I'm just blocking in because they're little. Now I want to do these blue. Sometimes I like to do a blue mushroom. Light ultramarine. I actually remember doing a mushroom or a page with, I think it was the mushroom in ultramarine, this ultramarine, it's very different to a regular ultramarine colour, and orange. It was the weirdest page. It was in Ivy and the Inky Butterfly by Johanna Basford, and at the end of the book there is a picnic on a mushroom page, and yeah, I did it in the orange and this shade of blue. I think it almost worked. I'm going to put a bit of blue in the stem, just a light layer, and then I'm going to put some grey on top. Actually going to use the cold grey 4, which I happen to have here. Oh, my eyes are so blurred. I'm going to go over the top of it. I can never quite work out if it's just me or if it's the light. And just a bit more on the edges. There we go. Now, where are we at? Underneath our cauldron, I feel like we need something under there. I'm going to grab the Paynes Grey and I'm just going to put a little bit of... Ooh. Sorry if you were snoozing. A little bit of sort of dark, ashy, coaly, shadowy smokiness going on in there. I'm going to actually make it quite intense. So I'm going to layer it up just so that it sits back. I think if it's too light, it doesn't sit back into the background as well. You know, you could do this black, but I didn't quite want to go as severe as a black, if you know what I mean. I'm going to stop there, but pop out and just do these bits. See, I can hear a helicopter now. There we go. So it just looks a bit dark under there. That pencil, it doesn't want to behave, does it? Right. Now, I have got my Moonlight pens, and look at this colour. I think this is going to work really well on these bits of this. So, I don't know what, it's number 432. Hoping it will show up. Oh yeah. It's quite a sort of dirty lime colour. Might do this line as well. That's fun. If you don't have this sort of colour, I mean, you can just use a pencil. If you use your earth green yellowish, you would sort of get this colour. There we go. Oh, I think that's probably that. So that's that one. Then I need my glitter pens. Now I can't decide whether to make this moon, I was thinking blue, but no, can't be blue, not on purple. Could do it purple, or I could do it silver. I think we might go purple. I've got a lot of purple left, I haven't got much silver left. I mean, that's a good enough reason as any. So this is 724. And we'll go over this. Look, it's very vibrant. It's certainly going to stand out. and all these little dots on here as well. You could do this in white if you'd rather, but I think because it's so pale in the centre here, the white wouldn't stand out. And then I'm going to do the dots that are around here. My hand is awkward because I can't smudge that green. Well, I can smudge that green, that's why. Right, there we go. Now, these mushrooms I want some white dots on. So this is my white Gellyroll. Can use any white pen. There are a few that are rubbish, but I have found that this and the Posca and the Signo something, they're all pretty good, much the same. On this one, I'm just going to go around the dots and just take out the black line. I think it looks a little bit less severe. There we go. I think I am done. So there is our cauldron. I enjoyed that one. We've got some tasty things to do tomorrow. But it might take a little while, but that's okay. But yes, thank you for watching today. I hope you enjoyed it. Yeah, I hope you come back and watch tomorrow's. But for now, have a super day and happy colouring.